This information you are about to hear and perhaps view, these are not necessarily the thoughts or the ideas of Gary C.Clement or the Gary Clement Radio Show podcast. We are in no way, shape, or form affiliated with the parties this story is about or was interviewed for. Parts of this content may not be owned by or the property of the Gary Clement Radio Show podcast, G2 Network Media, or any other company we are affiliated with, and this information is strictly the opinion of those being interviewed. This content is for information purposes only, and although we may make reference to various news stories, we share our own independent beliefs about the content and provide our own opinions. Please enjoy the information. Yes, this is Gary C. Clement from the Gary Clement Radio Show podcast. And today on the show, we have an incredible gentleman. Back in the day, without the images of celebrities, it was impossible to have the Wright magazine, Hype Hair magazine, Word Up magazine, without people like my guest today. He was one of the top New York photographers for urban entertainment in the 1990s. They helped make artists such as Queen Latifah, the Sugar Hill Gang, Kool Moe Dee, Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, and many others make it to the limelight. We welcome my buddy, my friend, photographer to the stars, Mr. Ronnie Wright. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm good. How y'all doing?
All right, cool. So first of all, how did you get started as a photographer?
Well, it was like a little bug that hit me in high school, man, when I was in like the 11th grade. I just, I've always liked taking pictures back, little younger days and stuff, but 11th grade, it really hit me. And I started really taking the camera with me everywhere I went and just started documenting, trees, birds, bees, everything, it just started being fun.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. So can you remember that first camera that you had? Was it a Nikon, a Canon, or what exactly?
I think a Kodak point and shoot.
Wow. Okay.
People forget about that Kodak with the little square bulb on the top.
Right. I hear you. Cool. Okay. So the first celebrity that you ever shot?
I can't even tell you. I don't even know.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think it was like during the funk era. I think it might have been Parliament Funkadelic or, Brothers Johnson or somebody like that.
I see. Okay. And right now, what is this? How many years have you been in this game with photography?
This is my 45th anniversary.
Okay. So just call off, just give us a rundown of just some of the people you've had the opportunity to shoot. I know there have been so many. I know it's a lot.
I want to start with the classics such as Lena Horne, Lionel Hampton, Quincy Jones, Barry White, Eartha Kitt, Little Richard, James Brown, pioneers like that, just to start off.
Mm-hmm.
And, I had the pleasure, to work with them through the record companies and through the industry throughout the years.
Okay. And then we get into the 80s and 90s. Talk about some of those people.
We talking about the Kool Moe Dees, the LL Cool J's, the Michael Jacksons, the Janets, Public Enemy, Madonna, so many artists. Right. When you get to something like this, you can't even think of them all.
I know. I understand. Okay. And then when we come to television, some of the television celebrities and stuff and movie stars that you had an opportunity to shoot.
I would like to say, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Denzel Washington, Tom Cruise. God. Stop, man. I can't. I'm just getting tired of right now.
Okay. Because I know
it was a lot.
I know.
It was a lot.
I hear you. And I know, and actually, someone reminded me of something, too, that when we used to do Jack the Rapper years ago, that Chris Tucker actually was there with us, my man and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah, man. The thing that we was able to do is work with the artists back in the early days when they just started. So it became a camaraderie that we grew up with them. I mean, like, we came up side by side. So, like, we were there to get them the publicity back in the day when they were just landing their feet on the silver screen or on the silver stage or whatever it may be. And if it wasn't for the photographers, they wouldn't have been seen.
Right, right,
And therefore, a lot of people wouldn't know who they were, so they couldn't have bought the records and this and that without us. So we played a most important part in
hmm
this game called the industry, the music industry, or the TV industry.
right, right. I hear you. Because I remember them one time they were debuting the new television show by Martin Lawrence, the Martin Lawrence show, I believe, that was coming on and stuff, and actually Jack the Rapper, they had the actual, they showed the actual show there for the first time, the television show there for the first time, and what else? I remember Queen Latifah standing on the stage and stuff. She's getting ready to go up and perform and stuff, and Heavy D and the Boys, and a little bit of everybody was there.
And we were right there. It
hmm
was just a great time for us to capture the moments that we did in time because it was just a great pivotal moment in our life, and we as documentarians, we document history, and that was part of history.
Talk a little bit about the business of photography and raising a family.
Well, in the beginning when we was doing it, we were just doing it just to get the artists on magazine covers and shooting the concerts and the little things they did, the record in stores, the radio retail and things like that. And it became lucrative. And then, like we started families and, those little checks helped, get our families situated and pay some bills and stuff like that. So it became work. So a lot of people thought that, being a photographer, that wasn't really work. We pay taxes, we do a lot of things. So it became a workspace, and a lot of people didn't recognize that, and I don't know why, because it was a situation and it was a job purpose, and we were the purpose, we were the people to do it.
A couple of years ago, COVID-19 hit. How did that change your life? How did that change your business or whatnot of photography
Oh,
as that
that
hit?
COVID killed us, but it taught us a lot of things as well. It put us in a place where we couldn't work, so we had to. So all the work that we had built up, we were able to sit home and analyze what we had and figure out what to do with it and how to get it out to the masses and let the world see who we were and what we did. And so I think it was a blessing and a curse. So I just, take it with a grain of salt and glad that we are where we are right now.
I see. Okay. Because I noticed that one of the things actually that you did, though, actually was kind of clever, which was you created a Facebook page and started, branding yourself that way. And I'm pretty sure a lot of stuff started picking up for you there, too.
Yeah, that was a blessing, and just letting people see, everybody say you got a website, and I thought about it. I said, why need the website right now? And we got the ultimate package, man. The world is at our oysters. So for us to put our stuff out and everybody for the world to see who we are, that gave us momentum and gave us some kind of security in saying that here we are.
hmm
Check us out, and that brought in more work. People start seeing things and pictures that we done of different artists and different movie stars and people like that. And we started getting tagged and called, and work started picking up a little bit. So that was a blessing in disguise.
Okay. Okay. Now, talk about a little bit about the BET experience. I know you worked for them. I think you told me like 15 years. Talk a little bit about, the business aspect of that, because like I said, you got a couple of different business sides of that, I guess. Just tell us a little bit about that, please.
Well, the BT thing started with me when I was called by Bobby Brown and Whitney Houston's publicists, and they said they were going to this new show, which was called 106 in Park. And I had no idea the show was even on TV. And I went with them that day, to cover it. So I went up there, saw a couple of friends of mine, and it was a few friends that were producers on the show. And, at the end of the set, a friend of mine approached me and asked me would I like to consider being a photographer, a house photographer. I said, sure. It wasn't nothing to think about. I was like, it's a new show. I wouldn't mind doing it. There wasn't nothing in the budget for me, but I took on that task anyway, just to be a part of it, And before that, we had the record companies booking studio time for us to shoot these different artists. And here at 106 in Park, all the artists came together. So, instead of cutting off my face to spite my nose or vice versa, I just went on and took the job on. And 15 years later, I was the BET photographer.
Wow. Okay. Great. Great. Okay. So in that time, I know you had an opportunity to do quite a bit with, hip hop artists, probably more so than
Oh, yeah.
anybody else. Okay. So,
Met so many people, and the hip hop artists, the R&B artists, the jazz artists, the funk artists, anybody that came through. We even had movie stars, rock and rollers, and just so many people. And for me to be there to capture that moment in that pivotal time was a godsend. And I thank him for that.
right. Gotcha. Okay. And does anything, you just remember more so than anything else in regards to a shoot that you done that was, one of the best shoots you ever did with BET?
Well, I would say, the moments when Aaliyah was there and, Brandy and Monica and, the young people just coming up and finding their own and having that platform. And for me to be there and, backstage, I would hook up artists that didn't even know each other. I would bring them from one side of the stage to the other side of the stage to meet other people which they had never met. Like like Janet Jackson and um, what's her name? Nicki Minaj. I introduced them together, and it was just a good thing. I felt like it was my duty to do this, and for me being who I was and was kind of like a negotiator and a person to bring people together. I felt stride to just do that, and that was just a great moment for me and them. And it went on to for me to introduce other people to other people. And I just like as I said, I give it all to God, man. I just thank Him for putting me in the right place at the right time.
Right. Okay. So beyond photography, what's your next step or whatnot with, everything that you've done and stuff in the past? How do you, like you said, want to continue to get this stuff out to the masses? Let people know that you have these photos from the past. Just what else does Ronnie Wright want to do?
Well, I think it's a word of mouth now. So as we go into the 50th anniversary of hip hop, so I'm working on a project now. I'm putting a photo exhibit together for sometime in mid April, and that's my next endeavor. And then from then on, I have some movie projects. I'm also working with Unsung and doing a lot of radio podcasts, such as with yourself. And I'm just like thanking God for the blessing. I also like to thank my family and my children, my wife, and everybody for sticking with me as I was coming through this. While they were younger, they didn't understand, but they reaped some of the benefits. They got to meet some of their favorite people, and they just like, I'm glad that's my dad. So I've been blessed, and I continue to be blessed, and I like to bless others, and I thank God for where He put me today, and for letting me see the light and just taking that camera and going to the next plateau.
Right. Okay. Something else that we didn't touch on or whatnot too was that at some point the cell phone actually took over your job as a photographer. How did that affect you all?
Oh man, everybody wanted to be a photographer once they got a cell phone. So you know, uh, I take that as a good and a bad thing because sometimes that phone is there when you really need it. Sometimes I don't have my camera with me now, and I have a high tech phone, so my phone is like, as long as you could critique the pictures and know what you're doing with it, it's like it's beautiful. It's a great thing. And if you take that situation away from these new photographers out here now, they wouldn't know how to set an aperture or a shutter, and the ISO. They wouldn't really know what to do with that. So we critiqued our craft, and just coming up, trial and error. And what we did, we learned on hand. It was like an on hand thing that us learning it. And I bought books to study lighting and things like that. But most of the real photographers are self taught,
Hmm.
and that was a blessing in disguise.
I see. Okay. So for everybody that's young today that want to possibly get into photography, what's your advice to them?
My advice is first get the family. Take pictures of the family and the grandparents and people like that are still around. Get information, find out who was who in the family. Start off at the family and then go out and just make an endeavor. Go and meet people, and if you see something, shoot it, and try to build a relationship with an artist if you run into an artist, and things like that to profit and to prophesize. Just to get that skill and that understanding. You have to go out and learn trial and error. You have to go out and start doing it. Just do it.
Right. I got you. Okay. So anything you wished you had have done actually differently?
Well, I wish I had took classes in school. Back in the mid 70s. We had courses like photography and stuff like that, which I never took because I wasn't going that route. And like I said, later on, I picked up books and started self teaching myself, and things like that, and things just excavated, and one thing led to another, and here I am now, 45 years later, Ronnie Wright, photographer to the stars, and y'all come on and share this journey with me.
And one valuable point: always, always keep ownership of your property.
Oh yes, definitely. Whatever you take in that camera, it belongs to you. Can't nobody take that from you. Anything other, you work it out with a business plan or paperwork or whatever. But you're the owners of that. So what we do as photographers, we do the same thing that songwriters do with BMI and ASCAP. We don't have a corporation or anything like that yet, but that's our intellectual property. So we own what we take.
Okay, great. So, for anyone that wants to contact you, do you have a website? Do you have email addresses, phone numbers? What kind of information can you leave for my audience
Well,
today
first
so
of
they can
all,
contact
I'm on Instagram at Ronnie Wright, number one, RONNIEWRIGHT, number one. I'm on Facebook as Ronnie Wright. And my email is Ronnie Wright Photographer at gmail.com. And you can reach me that way. And I'm also on TikTok, Ronnie Wright 62 TikTok.
you? We really do appreciate our guests who participated in this episode, and we hope you learned something that will bless your day and your life. For all who are interested in learning more about the Gary Clement Radio Show podcast, please visit www.amazon.com and order my book, The Gary Clement Radio Show, When Strong Afro-American Men and Women Stand Up. It covers everything about us and features a variety of Afro-American personalities who speak out about the importance of education and literacy in the Black community. Well, we thank you for tuning into our podcast. Please send us your email address so we can contact you when we have new releases and new episodes and new projects as well. You can reach us at gccpresents@yahoo.com. And also, if you're interested in submitting any materials or want to get in touch with us, please do so by simply sending an email to gccpresents@yahoo.com. That's G as in Gary, C as in Charlie, C as in Charlie, presents@yahoo.com. So until next time, do take care. And this is a G2 Network Media production.